You wake up, but the sun doesn't. The morning should be bright. Instead, it's black. A sky of ash presses down on your world. It's not night, it's worse. The light is gone. You step outside and the air feels wrong, heavy, dry. Each breath tastes of smoke and metal. At first you think it's fog, but fog doesn't sting your lungs. Fog doesn't fall in flakes. You look closer. It's not snow, it's ash, black, powdery, endless. And then it hits you. This isn't the explosion, this is what comes after. Somewhere, far beyond your horizon, mushroom clouds clawed into the sky. Cities vanished. Millions burned in seconds. But that fire was only the beginning. The real weapon is this: the silence, the cold, the shadow stretching across the earth. Days blur together. There is no dawn. There is no dusk. Only darkness. Crops shrivel in dead fields. Livestock starve. Markets collapse. And the world's food is gone in months. You hear whispers of entire nations rationing the last grain. Children begging at roadsides. Neighbors turning against each other. The news, if you can find it, calls it by its name: nuclear winter. But behind the headlines, there's something else. Something scientists aren't saying out loud. Not because they don't know, but because the truth is too terrifying. Because once the fire ends, survival isn't measured in hours. It's measured in years. And you're standing at the edge of that timeline right now. You've heard the phrase before, nuclear winter. But it almost sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? It isn't. The term was first coined in 1983. A team of scientists, Turco, Toon, Ackerman, Pollock, and Sagan, published a paper that shook the world. They called it TTAPS. Their conclusion? Even a limited nuclear war would change the climate of the entire planet. Not for days, not for months, but for decades. Imagine firestorms raging across New York, Moscow, Beijing. Imagine entire oil reserves igniting, all of that black smoke carried into the sky like a shroud. One study estimated over 150 million tons of soot could rise into the stratosphere. That's enough to wrap the Earth in a blanket of ash, enough to block out nearly all sunlight. And sunlight is life. Take it away and crops die, ecosystems collapse, oceans shift, and then everything else falls with it. We already have the evidence, not from war, but from history. In the year 1815, a volcano called Mount Tambora erupted in Indonesia. It was the largest eruption in recorded history. So much ash filled the atmosphere that the year 1816 became known as the year without a summer. Snow fell in June. Crops failed across Europe. Famine killed hundreds of thousands. And that was from one volcano. Now multiply that by hundreds of nuclear firestorms. Cities burning with chemicals, plastics, metals, fuels far darker than volcanic ash. The Earth doesn't just cool, it freezes. Modern models suggest temperatures could drop by 20 degrees in key regions. That means tropical farmland turning to tundra, monsoon shutting down, rainfall collapsing by half across entire continents. The oceans would respond too. The surface chills, currents slow, and ecosystems collapse. Plankton die. Fish vanish. The base of the food chain erodes overnight. And when that base falls, humanity follows? But here's where the silence begins. Scientists have run these simulations for decades. The numbers aren't hidden, but they are ignored. Why? Because the world's nuclear powers don't want the narrative to change. They want you to think deterrence is stable. They want you to think these weapons are last resorts. They want you to believe in control, but control is a lie. All it takes is one miscalculation, one radar glitch, one leader having a bad night, and the chain reaction begins. We came close before. In 1983, Soviet radar operators saw what looked like incoming U.S. missiles. Protocol demanded retaliation, launch the arsenal, end the world. But one man, Stanislav Petrov, hesitated. He chose not to push the button. He saved the planet by accident. In 1995, Russian radar mistook a Norwegian weather rocket for a nuclear strike. The nuclear briefcase was opened. Launch codes were prepared. Boris Yeltsin's finger hovered over the trigger. He waited, and nothing happened. Another accident. And yet the arsenals remain. Right now, there are over 12,000 nuclear warheads on Earth, more than enough to trigger not just one nuclear winter, but several. And the hidden truth? It doesn't even take all of them. 100 bombs, less than 1% of the total stockpile, is enough to starve billions. But governments don't broadcast this, because if they did, their entire doctrine of power collapses. If you knew that a limited exchange between India and Pakistan could crash global agriculture, you'd demand disarmament. You'd question every speech about national security. And so the truth is wrapped in silence, buried in academic journals, locked behind technical jargon. But you can see the signs yourself. The warnings are everywhere. Why do you think military bunkers are stocked with years of rations? Why do you think governments run simulations of black swan disasters? Why do you think billionaires are buying land in New Zealand? Because those who know are preparing, not for fallout, not for the blast, but for the winter. The one scientists aren't shouting about, the one that comes after the fire. And if it begins, your world will not collapse in an instant. It will collapse in slow motion, food by food, season by season, light by fading light. The bombs don't have to fall near you. You don't need to see the flash. You don't need to feel the fire. To die in nuclear war, all you need to do is keep living. Because once the ash rises, survival becomes a test of time. And time is not on your side. But survival alone is not enough. Because in this world, the cold is endless. The food is scarce. The sun is a stranger. And yet, there is something that cannot be destroyed. Your mind, your will, your courage. You wake each day into darkness. You do not complain. You do not falter. You act. Because hope is not given. It is taken. It is forged in the furnace of adversity. It is carved from the bones of despair. You adapt. You endure. You fight. And in fighting, you live. Patience is survival. Discipline is survival. Knowledge is survival. Learn the land. Learn the sky. Learn to turn ash into life. Do not give up on people. Even when hunger gnaws, even when cold pierces, even when fear whispers in your ear, you must hold on to humanity. Because the strongest weapon in nuclear winter is not a gun. It is not a bunker. It is not a stockpile of food. It is the mind that refuses to surrender. And one day, decades from now, when the skies clear and sunlight returns, when the world is fragile but breathing again, you will see the truth. Those who survived did not do so by luck. They survived because they acted when others froze. They survived because they understood the world as it was and refused to bow to it. This is the lesson, the warning, the call. So prepare, learn, adapt, survive. Because the next winter could come at any moment, and when it does, the world will not wait for you. You must be ready. Stay alert. Stay informed. Stay alive.